appreciate all of you coming out tonight, and quite a uncertain day weather-wise, and thank the good Lord above, it looks like we may have missed, sort of dodged the bullet. I'm very thankful for that, but I couldn't, I noticed on social media, you always have, I like to call them the keyboard warriors that question why we were in school today. I'd rather rule on safety any day than take a chance of something happening on a bus, but I appreciate you guys making the decision for our safety, and we had a day bank, so we're still on target. If I'm not mistaken, we don't have to make up that day, and spring break is still in. We can celebrate the whole spring break this time, so that's good things. So at this time, as we always start our board meeting, I would ask Mr. Burgess, would you please lead us in a word of prayer?
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to take care of the business of the Randolph County school system. Lord, we pray that you'll watch after us, give us the wisdom and forethought to make the right decisions, Lord. Lord, we pray for all our students and staff members in the Randolph County school system, and that great things will happen to them, Lord, and that they in their lives will glorify you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I would ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I would like to ask Dr. Gainey, our superintendent, to share some comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Had a lot going on in the school system last month since we came back from the winter weather break that we had. Just some things, had a chance to attend a lot of events the last month. February 12th had a great night at Title I Science Night at Farm Elementary School. I want to say a big thank you to Judy Cagle, principal, for her efforts for planning that event. A couple days later, on 16th, I had a chance to go to a awards assembly for grade 6 at Northeastern Randolph Middle School. Carlina Rebels, principal, again, did a great job with her staff in recognizing our students. On the 17th, we had our annual spelling bee at Sunset Theater in Asheboro. I want to take a moment to congratulate all the students in grades K-8 who participated in that and represented their schools. I also want to take a special moment and recognize Nicholas Uribe Mondragon, 4th grade student at Franklinville Elementary School. He would have been recognized tonight, but we've moved recognitions back. But I do want to recognize Nicholas, tremendous young man, and he will be recognized at our April 20 board meeting. Again, 4th grader at Franklinville Elementary School. Next day on the 18th, I had a chance to go to Southeastern Randolph Middle School for an award assembly for grades 8. And again, Melanie Ritchie and her staff did a great job. And 2 days later, I was over at Southwest Randolph Middle School, grade 7 award assembly. And I want to thank Michael Crider and his staff for a very efficient and great assembly as well. We ended that week, that was the 20th on Friday, that night, week ended at one of the special events every year, which is all county band and chorus, middle school and high school level. And just a tremendous event. We partner with Asheboro City Schools. We get to use our beautiful auditorium for this event, and thank them for that, and thank all the band directors at middle school and high school level for their work. Also want to thank all the students for the fine way in which they represented our school system, and congratulate them for being selected for all county band and chorus. The 24th was a busy day. Parent night at Liberty Elementary School. Jamie Horner does a great job out there, her and her staff. Earlier that day, I went to Special Olympics Swimming for middle school students, and just appreciate Asheboro Randolph YMCA for hosting that every year. I want to congratulate all the students for their efforts in this event. It's just a great event. Staff members, community members helping. The next day, I had a chance to go to the high school Special Olympics at Asheboro Randolph YMCA, and again, just saw some great performances by our students. At the end of February, February 26th, I had a chance to go to Level Cross, see Stephanie Hatcher and her staff for a Science STEM Parent Night. The next day I went to Trindale and Archdale Elementary School for a award ceremony for grades K2 at Archdale. and the award ceremony for grades 2 and 3 at Trindale. And just want to thank James Johnson and Emma Phillips for taking the time to make these events so special. On March 2, I had a chance to go to see the Youth Art Month exhibit at the Randolph Arts Guild, and unbelievable artwork in the facility by our kids, and it's a great testament to the great art teachers we have in this school system. On March 5, went to a parent night around elementary school. Sean Shoptown and his staff did a great job. And then we ended the last week with some exciting times with Battle of the Books. On March 11, Battle of the Books was for the elementary schools, and Hopewell Elementary School won that event. I want to congratulate them. And then March 12, we finished with Trinity Middle School winning the middle school competition, and Southwestern Randolph High School winning the high school competition, which, Shane, if I'm correct, the high school competition is kind of new on the scene, but this is this year too we've done that, is that right? Or is it years, am I missing 3? Did you say 3 or 4? You said 4? Okay. So excited to see the high school students respond to that. I also want to take a moment and congratulate the Southwestern Randolph Middle School volleyball team. Not only did they win the middle school volleyball tournament last week on March 10, they also finished the regular season undefeated. So it was a great accomplishment. And finally, just want to say thank you to the teachers throughout the school system. I had a great pleasure of visiting elementary school classrooms and reading and to their students, and I always learned something. The first, I went to Trindale and Franklinville two days in a row and read the kindergartners throughout, and that was quite an experience. And then spent time in Newmarket, Archdale, and Coleridge. So it's been a busy month, but that's what happens in school business. Things start getting busy, and it's busy on all our campuses, and I just appreciate everybody from the students, the parents, and the staff for what you do to make this a wonderful school system. Board members, I'm going to give you a calendar of events. Since we weren't in work session today, I'll give you a calendar of events that's getting shorter as we get to the end of the year. And so obviously it'll build back up when we get to July. So Mr. Cook, this concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Gannon. At this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the February 9th, 2026 minutes and the March 9th, 2026 minutes.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tonight, like Dr. Gainey said, we are moving our recognitions to the April meeting. So we'll double up in April with them. So at this time, we're going to move on to the public comments. And as I call your name, you can come up, state your name again, and you'll have 3 minutes. And like I said, we ask you to be respectful for those in the room when you step up to the podium. First up is Rebecca McClendon.
Hello, Rebecca McClendon. My daughter Peyton McClendon is a sophomore at Uwharrie Ridge. I was very under the weather and wasn't here last Monday, so I just wanted to have my turn to speak again. I've been in education for 27 years. People might think, oh, it's just a daycare, but I run a daycare center. There's been times that I can't afford my staff. There's been times that I've had to take out of my own pocket. But when I walk in that center and I see those kids needing a safe place to go, you don't know what some of these kids go through. And that's how my daughter feels at Uwharrie Ridge. My daughter went from when she was living with her mother, missing 48 days of school in 1 year, to where she has been going to Uwharrie Ridge since the 8th grade. And she has not missed not 1 day of school since she has started there. My daughter feels like a person. My daughter feels like she matters. And I'm just afraid. She's already came to me. And I'm already afraid of what's going to happen if you guys take this school away from these kids. I understand that your enrollment might be down. I understand that the pay and stuff might not be there. But my daughter is more than money. My daughter is a child. She needs us to speak up for her. And I don't want to see this school close. I'm sure y'all might already have your minds made up, but I just pray to the Lord that you guys really take in consideration these kids. Like I said, you know, y'all might see enrollment going down, but you've got to consider the ones that are there, the ones that choose to be there. Not all of them want to go to overcrowded classrooms. Not all of them can cope in overcrowded classrooms. And my daughter, for one, has already told me she does not want to go to a big school again. Because, I hate to say it, but some of these kids, they do get pushed in the corner. They do get shoved in the cracks. Not purposely, but they do. And some of these kids truly need to excel. And the only way that they can excel is to have the safety that they have with some of these teachers, with the way that these teachers make them feel. I was not on board last year. I should be wrong for saying this, but the principal that we have now is absolutely amazing. And I just hope and pray that y'all give him a chance to show y'all, because with us in the community, we already see a change that he has made taking over this school. And I just really hope that y'all will give him, just give him a couple years. Let us see where it can go. And then what happens, happens. Just give him a chance and give these kids a chance. Thank you.
Dr. Eric Heskett.
Hello, my name is Eric Heskett. Esteemed Randolph County School Board and Dr. Ganey, I thank you for the time to address you on this important matter. I want to express my concerns over the potential closure of Uwharrie Ridge 612 and the significance of this decision that is ahead of all of us. I have major concerns on how the study was conducted, who performed the study, how the study was conducted, and findings in the study, along with following proper procedural codes set forth by North Carolina State Code. I feel that making a study publicly available less than 3 business days before a board meeting is not operating in full transparency, nor is it appropriate. It was obvious by March 9th's public hearing how important it is to students, faculty, staff, and this community. This school board is set to make a decision that does not impact the students, faculty, and staff of Uwharrie Ridge, but a decision that will impact a generation of the future of our beloved Randolph County. I kindly request that Randolph County's esteemed school board make a motion to postpone the vote to close Uwharrie Ridge and is given 30 more days to review public information and a possible middle ground. We cannot rush a decision of this importance. I respectfully ask each of you to truly look into your hearts. Set aside spreadsheets and ask yourself, having in mind primarily the welfare of the students to be affected. If you don't know where that comes from, it comes from North Carolina Code on how to close a school. I want to ask you to set aside spreadsheets and ask yourself, having in mind primarily the welfare of the students to be affected. In closing, I request that you embody your motto, and please put students first in all you do. Thank you.
Okay, Michael Shades.
Hey, hello everyone. I just had a few things to say, and then I think I'm last on the list there. Last hearing, there was like 160 people or more that came out, and then it got passionate, and everybody kind of expressed how they felt. And some of you guys got kind of passionate too. I could tell that it affected a lot of them. And it should. It affects everyone, right? We're talking about kids. We're talking about this county's kids. Parents, of course, got passionate. like some people have said, some people felt like it was rushed, like it happened quickly. Although I've come to understand that this is probably something that's been bouncing around for a while, that's at least been talked about by you guys. I'm not sure when, like the actual, hey, look, we're gonna close the school, if that was something that was put in the community a long time ago, it's a possibility if it just happened recently. You know, even though it was on your minds, like the community maybe didn't know. But either way, I guess what I would like to ask is, there were a lot of concerns that were brought up at that last meeting, like the class of 2027, right? Mr. Cook himself, in his closing, he kind of pointed out how some of the kids might be affected, and he was worried about it, right? I remember that. And so it should be something that is really taken into consideration. We have a survey. Over 1,300 people have signed. I sent it to you guys. You guys have seen it. No one in that last board meeting supported, nobody that was here and spoke, supported closing the school right away. And so I don't know, I know you guys got all the numbers and things like that, but if there's any way possible that you can wait until you've got those issues that were pointed out, like the class of 27, what you're going to do at high school, where exactly are the middle school students going? Are they for sure going to Southwest in trailers? I mean, where is everybody going? Is there a plan to maybe let parents choose where these middle school kids go instead of sending them all to Southwest? So, I mean, there's a lot of things out there. I know there's been talk in the past about consolidating schools and combining them to kind of help with the numbers instead of, you know, just closing one and sending the rest to Southwest. So I just hope you look at all those things and you come up with a decision that really takes into account the needs of those kids. Because in any report, things get overlooked, especially when you're focusing on numbers. You know, it's easy to overlook things. And I have no doubt that you guys have the best interests of the community and the kids involved. It's just, you don't always know what those interests are. So just take a minute, take some time to think about it, and before you vote to close the school, make sure you've got those things figured out. Thank you.
All right, that is all our public comments tonight. At this time, I need a motion to adopt the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, up first will be Dr. Gainey to share some
Well,
information
you gotta
on.
vote on the adoption.
You just got a second, that was it.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry.
Just straight, Elizabeth.
Okay, board members, next on the agenda are some gifts that have been given to the school system in the last month. So I want to present these. These are all information items since they are $5,000 or less. Board policy 8220. The first gift on February 17, Carrie Cole, Principal Cole Elementary School, made me aware of a gift given to her school by Maple Springs Community Church in the amount of $2,100. It's to be used for student needs such as food, clothing, field trips, and other needs related to instruction, and I accepted this gift on behalf of the school system on February 17. The next gift on February 20, received an email from Jason Lord, Principal Uwharrie Ridge 612, regarding a gift given to a school by an anonymous donor in the amount of $300 to be used for field trip expenses for the school's occupational courses study classroom. I accepted this gift on February 20 on behalf of the school system. The next gift on February 27, Holly Grissom, Principal Ramble Middle School, made me aware of a gift given to her school by Dairy Queen in Ashbury in the amount of $3,270. The use of the gift was unrestricted, so the school has flexibility to determine its use, and I accepted this gift on February 27. The next gift in the packet is a gift to Wheatmore Middle School on February 25. Matt Smith, Principal Wheatmore Middle School, made me aware of a gift given to a school by an anonymous donor in the amount of $300. It was designated to be used for the school's volleyball program, and I accepted this gift on behalf of the school system on February 25. And then the last gift in the packet tonight is one to Trinity Middle School. On March 7, I received an email from Justin Pugh, principal of Trinity Middle School, from McCall. He made me aware of a gift from McCall Engineering Group, PLLC, in the amount of $825 to be used to support the robotics program. Specifically, $500 was for a Spike robot, $175 was for expansion, and $150 was for a robotics mat, and I accepted this gift on March 8. So board members, as noted, per board policy 8220, all of these gifts are $5,000 or less, and are coming to you tonight as information items. I'll answer any questions you have regarding the gifts. We appreciate all that community members do to support our schools, and it seems like every month we have another set of gifts to bring, so we do appreciate everybody's support of our schools.
Thank you, Dr. Gaines. Up next is Beth Davis. To present a grant.
Good evening, board members. I have just one tonight. Southmont Elementary School received a Donors Choose grant in the amount of $499.49 on February 17th. This was for the pre-K classroom. Ms. Ulcer, the pre-K teacher, was responsible for submitting this request, and that money was used to purchase LCD doodle boards, an office chair, some supplies such as construction paper, and Let's All Sing Kids Box Pack. Oh, anyway. So per board policy 8220, this is just for information, but that's the only one I have tonight.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
So, finance and budget, Les Murray Trotter, come up.
Good evening, board members. Tonight I bring to you the monthly reporting of any contract that's $50,000 or more, and this is per board policy 6420. Tonight I have 6 of those items, and the first item is Go Energies LLC for gasoline and diesel, an amount of $85,000. It's a blanket purchase order. Browse Oil and Gas for heating oil, $80,457.28. Go Energies LLC, this was a February blanket PO for gasoline and diesel in the amount of $80,000. White's International Trucks, repair parts and service in the amount of $80,000. Carolina Thomas LLC, again repair parts and service, $70,000. And Velocity Truck Centers, repair parts and service in the amount of $50,000.
Marty, is the price of diesel now killing your transportation fund, or
I
has it hit it yet? Or?
I asked Wendy just last week, and she says she hasn't been hit yet, but she knows it's coming. So it'll be here
And
soon.
it's like on the street, $5 a gallon.
So yeah, those, I'm sure those will be more frequent. We're running, what, 7,500 in a tanker, is that about right? So we're running them about every 3 days. We have to refill, so I know those prices will go up sooner than later, unfortunately. All right, board members, the next item is the Superintendent's 2026-2027 budget. Bring this to you this month for information. So in your packet, I'll go through the packet there. Superintendent's budget message is inside the cover there. That's something that Dr. Gaines does every year. The next page is the local budget request that you've seen. This is also what the commissioner saw back in January. So current expense request totals $1,897,232. A bulk of that is for continuation costs, $1,207,232. And then to offset some of the low wealth cut that we had this current year, $690,000. And there in parentheses, you'll see our total low wealth cut was $2,485,000. So current expense request was $1,897,232. Moving down to capital outlay request, that's for our facility upgrade and repair plan. For several years, it's been at $950,000. We're asking for a $100,000 increase there, just to keep up with inflation and that sort of thing, our prices. So $100,000 there. So total local current expense and capital outlay request from commissioners is $1,997,232. Next page, which is page 1 of the document. This is everything in our local budget. So local current expense, Fund 2. The revenues from the county appropriations will be $28,095,429. Again, that's a $1,897,232 increase from prior year. Fines and forfeitures have been coming in around $1 million. I've left that the same. And then appropriated fund balance, we were able to reduce that to $1,812,578. So total local current expense Fund 2 budget would be $30,908,007, for a net increase of $1,589,634. Below that is the expenses, and they're broken down by the purpose codes there, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. So for instructional, or 5,000 is 9,227,165. System-wide support services, 6,000, that's 18,427,542. Ancillary services, 308,300, and non-program charges, the 8,000 series is 2,945,000. Again, your budget, your expenses and revenues match at $30,908,007. Moving down to capital outlay, the county appropriations amount would be $2,148,167. The next county appropriations amount is for the construction, which is the facility repair and upgrade plan. It's for $1,050,000. That's a $100,000 increase over prior year. Activity bus revenues, $168,000. And interest on investments is $14,000. Total revenues for capital outlay, Fund 4, is $3,380,167. All of those fall in the 9,000 series, which is your capital outlay. And again, that matches your revenues of $3,380,167. Moving over to page 2, that's our enterprise fund or school nutrition. Fund 5, revenues are broken down by state and federal sources and local sources. Won't necessarily go through all of those, but some of the big changes is the National School Lunch Program, USDA. That total revenue, expected revenue is $9,950,000. That's an increase over prior year of $250,000. Commodities, a little bit less there in commodities. Received is $701,536.02. That's $39,796.79 less than prior year. Going down to some of the other revenues and local and other sources. Supplemental sales is $1 million. That's $35,000 less than prior year. And the interest on investments is $220,000, which is a $120,000 increase there. Their appropriated fund balance is $875,467. That's $11,767 increase. So total revenues for the enterprise fund or the school nutrition account is $13,080,063.02. That's an increase over prior year of $323,230.21. Their expenses fall in two categories, 7,000s and 8,000s, mainly in the 7,000s. That's $12,605,063.02, and non-program charges is $8,475. Moving down to the bottom is Archdale Trinity Special School Tax, Fund 7. Revenues there, supplemental taxes for current year showing an increase of $97,000, so that's a total of $3,341,000. Supplemental taxes for prior year, that's averaged about the same year after year, so $16,000, we're leaving that there. Tuition payments, $46,000. Interest on investments, they're not quite going to meet the mark this year, so I bumped that down a little bit to $8,000. So total revenues for Archdale Trinity Special School Tax is $3,411,000. That is a net increase of $96,500. Their expenses fall under two categories, 5,000s and 6,000s. The instructional services is $3,386,000, and then the system-wide support services is $25,000. Again, $3,411,000, or a $96,500 increase over the prior year. Flipping over on page 3 is the restricted Fund 8. The revenues are broken down by state and federal, and also for local and other sources. Left those the same as current year. Total revenues for the year is $3,137,000. And then those expenses fall into two categories, the 5,000s and the 6,000s. It's almost a split there, so 5,000s is $1,706,000, and the system-wide support services $1,431,000. So total expense for Fund 8, restricted account, is $3,137,000. So behind that, on pages 4, 5, and 6, I gave you some supporting information there about PRC and each of those funds. I'll be happy to go through those if you want me to, or if you just want to move on, I can do that too. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Thank you, Norm.
And then at the very back is the performance growth of the school system. That's required in our budget, so we've got that at the very back of the packet. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I need a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Dr. Gainey.
Board members, I want to address the next action item that's on the agenda regarding potential closure of Uwharrie Ridge 612. Just want to share some information with you tonight. Randolph County School System is here to create opportunities for students. My recommendation presented at the board meeting on February 9 supports that idea, and that the savings from the closure of Uwharrie Ridge 612 will prevent other reductions in the school system. These other budget reductions will prevent students from access to high-quality staff members and resources. So make no mistake, this recommendation is for the benefit of the 14,493 students in the Randolph County School System. At the Board of Education meeting on February 9, I presented a report entitled, "A Study of Uwharrie Ridge 612. The following sections were included in that report: an executive summary, overview of the school, reasons for opening the school, enrollment history at the school, school's performance, redistribution of teacher positions, impact to the school system buildings in the case of the school's closure, impact to the enrollment of other schools in the school system in the case of the school's closure, geographic conditions, analysis of inconvenience and hardship for Uwharrie Ridge 612 students, and finally, the report ended with a recommendation section. So at this time, before I go any farther, I want to make my recommendation in the final section of this report regarding the issue under consideration, which is the closure of Uwharrie Ridge 612. On page 12 of the report, under recommendation, it reads as follows. This study identifies a certain level of inconvenience to the students currently in grades 6-11 at Uwharrie Ridge 612, as well as their parents, due to increased travel in the case of the school's closing. However, these students will have access to more academic programs,
class opportunities. Furthermore, the close of Uwharrie Ridge 612 will lead to a savings of approximately $1,300,000 and minimize other budget reductions across the entire school system. As a result, due to budget concerns and the other information identified in this study, as well as the fact that closure will not cause significant hardship to current students in grades 6-11, I recommend that Uwharrie Ridge 612 be closed at the conclusion of the 2025-2026 school year. Since the presentation of this report on February 9, I've received a lot of feedback. As a result, since February 9, I've gathered a lot of information. So therefore, if you choose, the next information I'm going to talk to you about is if you choose to close Uwharrie Ridge 612, I have some recommendations that I would like to come along with that decision. So before I put this up here, I heard about class rank. I heard about being number one in your class. I heard about wanting to be valedictorians, what I heard. I get troubled when we talk about not having valedictorians. I get troubled when the world talks about we don't need that. I was a valedictorian and I valued it. And I'm glad to hear that students value that. I'm glad to hear that. So, one of the things that I would share with you tonight. One of the things I want to share with you, the first recommendation, and I'll put it up there for you and I'll talk you through it, board members. One recommendation is that if you choose to close Uwharrie Ridge 612, I would need your approval to do this, but I would recommend that the Board of Education decide whether to allow rising seniors and rising juniors for next year, or only rising seniors, to stay under the school number for Uwharrie Ridge during the remainder of their years of high school while attending school on the campus of Southwestern Randolph High School. If you approve this, these students will be graduates of Uwharrie Ridge upon their completion of high school. Okay? There's two options to this. If the Board of Education approves for rising seniors and rising juniors to have the previously noted option, Uwharrie Ridge will be a school with only grades 11 and 12 during the 26-27 school year, and likewise only grade 12 by 27-28, and the official closing of the school would be at the end of the 27-28 school year. All schools in North Carolina have a school number. What I've simply asked for is permission from the state to keep the school number alive for at least rising seniors and rising juniors. Next year's senior class, next year's junior class, the following year's senior class. This is a recommendation I'd ask you to consider if you choose to close Uwharrie Ridge. Otherwise, you could go here and say, we're only going to do this for rising seniors. If you do only rising seniors, the school will be a grade 12 school only on the books next year, 26-27, and the school will officially close at the end of the 26-27 school year. So when I say close, that's the date that the school number will go away in the state's records. Again, this has been approved. So there's two options right there in this recommendation. So I want to point out, with the approval of any of the previously noted options, the students from Uwharrie Ridge will maintain their class ranks and awards associated with class ranks such as valedictorian and salutatorian. They'll maintain them different from the other students already at Southwestern Randolph High School. They also will be graduates of Uwharrie Ridge 612, not Southwestern Randolph High School. Talked to the principal at Southwestern Randolph High School today, so he would know what was going to be talked about by me tonight. So there would be a separate graduation ceremony for the Uwharrie Ridge students, the Southwestern Randolph High School students, until we officially close Uwharrie Ridge 612. These students will have access to all the courses accessible to the other students at Southwestern Randolph High School. In fact, they will share classes with the other students at Southwestern Randolph High School. So the facility at Uwharrie Ridge will be closed at the end of 25-26, which will be June 30th. We will close it. And yes, we will have Uwharrie Ridge 612 students and Southwestern Randolph High School students on the same campus for whatever you would choose if you take this recommendation. You could choose it on to be next year for the Rising Seniors only, or you could take it for the next 2 years for Rising Juniors and Seniors. So I bring you that as a one recommendation that would need board approval. But again, none of this is needed unless you choose to close Uwharrie Ridge 612. Any questions about that before I move on? This was one of the issues that was raised, was concern about students in class rank if the school was closed. Another issue that has been raised, heard it again tonight. Yes, the students are going in this study, if this is closed, the students are going to Southwest Middle and Southwest High, unless they're at Uwharrie Ridge and reassignments, they'll go back to their base schools. And the data reflects, when we start talking about travel distance, the data reflects the reassigned students who are into Uwharrie Ridge, it reflects the distance from their homes. Like if they're in the eastern zone, what is the distance to Uwharrie Ridge? And then the data reflects, if they go back to their base school, what will be from their home to their base school. So that was accounted for in the study. But the next recommendations, there's 2 more recommendations here. One of the things I've heard is if you close Uwharrie Ridge, you're going to overcrowd Southwest Middle, Southwestern Randolph Middle, and Southwestern Randolph High School. Well, they're going to be bigger. Absolutely, they'll be bigger. They will. I forgot, is it 225 is projected to be middle schoolers next year at Uwharrie Ridge? 225 and 140 high school kids at Uwharrie Ridge next year. Is that what we said? 140 and yes, 225. So here's another 2 recommendations I will put on the table. Again, these do not matter unless you move to close Uwharrie Ridge. The first one would be let the 5th graders, 37, there are 37 as of March 12 at Farmer, let them stay for grade 6 at Farmer. Now I know as soon as I say that, somebody's going to go and say, well, what about athletics? Let's just go ahead and talk. What about athletics for 6th grade, which we've been doing for a while? My staff can work that out. That's not an issue. That's not an issue for what we do with this decision. We did this before. When we went to 6th grade athletics, we had 6th graders down the road at Braxton Craven, and they went to Archstone Trinity Middle School for athletics. We worked it out. However it worked out, we worked it out. Don't remember how many kids it was. So there's 2 recommendations. Recommendation number 2 is let the 37 students stay at Farmer for grade 6. Farmer's only 45% full. One of the concerns I've heard in all this, are we next? Farmer, are we next? Well, this is a chance to put more kids. No one's talked about Farmer. No one's talked about Farmer. Not closing Farmer, but this surely helps when Farmer's 45% full. It also helps there's 37 less kids going to Southwestern Randolph Middle School. And then the other recommendation is Tabernacle. Change it to a K-6 school, starting with 2026-2027 school year, just like Farmer. There are 54 students in grade 5 right now as of March 12. They would stay. And again, Tabernacle is only 62% full. Now somebody may say, okay, well Stephen, you do that. What are you doing to the future of Tabernacle and Farmer? Well, in 26-27, Farmer is supposed to have 222 students. In 2035-36 school year, projected to have 245 students per the study done by the Institute for Transportation Research and Education at North Carolina State University that this board paid for. And we just had conducted and was presented back in the fall. Okay? So you say, what are you doing to Tabernacle? when you do that? Well, let's look. 26, 27, Tabernacle is expected to have 284 students. 35, 36 is projected to have 304 students. Capacity of both of those schools, by the way, is 506. So I don't think we're anywhere near taking them over capacity. So I bring you those two recommendations. Again, I would need board approval for my staff to move forward on either one of these, and neither one of these matter if Uwharrie Ridge is not closed. So let's talk about what this does. With the use of both these recommendations, more students will be added to elementary schools that have a lot of vacant space. It will do two things, also two more things. It will reduce the size of Southwestern Randolph Middle School by 91. I'm taking that because there's 54 students in grade 5 at Tabernacle, and there's 37 in grade 5 at Farmer. So the concerns about the size of Southwestern Randolph Middle School would be addressed. And one other thing, elementary school teachers are licensed K-6. Licensed K-6. And also by the statute, an elementary school is defined as a school that can have from grades 1 through 8, as well as kindergarten or pre-K. That's the definition in the statute for what an elementary school can like. So you have flexibility to do this. So I bring you that. There will not be a conflict with certification and staffing there, because K-6 is the certification elementary teachers have. There are different versions of certification. There are different versions in other states. At one point, a state, when I was Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, we would see some come in with 1 through 8 certification. What a lot of people don't realize is kindergarten wasn't always offered by a public school system. Where I grew up, I was in the first group of kindergartners in that school system. Now, it's a while back, but it was not always offered. So, with the use of those, we can address some things that have been talked about in the past couple of weeks. Have been talked about by board members since my presentation of the report on February 9. So, bring you those. There are 3 recommendations that in some way could be attached to the situation if Uwharrie Ridge is closed. The last thing is a positive. This is not a, you may remember on the bottom of page 11, I think it is, on the top of page 12, I was talking about what students, if they go to Uwharrie Ridge, go from Uwharrie Ridge to Southwest Randolph High School, what would be the changes. I talked about middle school, said they get ag, which we don't have at Uwharrie Ridge right now, and they get, they still have robotics, and I think it's robotics, and all of them have, so that wouldn't be new. But when we went to Southwestern Randolph High School, we talked about, yes, computer science and robotics. When we went to Southwestern Randolph High School, we talked about, they gained some CTE pathways they don't have, but we talked about 2 negatives. The 2 negatives were public safety is only at Uwharrie Ridge, it's not at Southwestern Randolph High School. And we talked about how 18 students were in the program. And we talked about, told you 3 of the 18 will be done with the program in a year, either by graduation or completing the pathway. This program is also at Wheatmore High School and Randleman High School. Well, in the weeks that passed since February 9, there's been a lot of work done, and if you choose to close Uwharrie Ridge 612, that public safety program is going to Southwest High. So it will be there for the Uwharrie Ridge kids to continue. 15 of them are in Public Safety 1. Okay? So that's a positive, that's an administrative thing, that is not a recommendation that will need approval by the board. So then we get down to, we're really minimizing on that chapter of page 11 and 12, or 10 and 11, excuse me, we're really minimizing now down to the collision repair and the plumbing programs that were implemented this year through RCC at Uwharrie Ridge. However, as I mentioned the other day, that is a 1-year program, and everybody in it will be done with that pathway at the end of this year, so no one will be in the middle of it that, if it goes away, no one's in the middle of it. And at this point, we have 3 of the 5 seats in plumbing, 3 seats in collision repair, we're not using all the seats that are there. I bring you that. Also want to note that on February 9, that we do not let people reassign to schools based on programs. Like, if you look at the high school level, we have auto mechanics at Wheatmore and Randleman. We have hospitality and tourism at Trinity High, no one else has it. We have metals at Eastern and Randleman, no one else has it. Everybody has ag. But we would make a provision if if we make this move to close Uwharrie Ridge, and there is a high school student that is, if there's a student currently enrolled in grade 9-11, it's in the report, page 11, at Uwharrie Ridge, and they're in the CTE pathways, not present at his or her new school, we would make a provision to let them be reassigned. However, it's reassigned somewhere not aligned with their address. Transportation will be their responsibility, just like every other child in the school system if they go to a school that's not reassigned, not aligned with their home address. So I bring you that tonight. I bring you those recommendations, and so I'll end with this, board members. I'm fully aware that the recommendation to close Uwharrie Ridge 612 is not an easy one. And I know you have a hard decision in front of you. And I want you and everyone listening to understand that I believe that the closure of Uwharrie Ridge 612 is in the best interest of all students in the Randolph County school system for the following reasons. Students currently attending Uwharrie Ridge 612 will have access to more options. Students currently attending Uwharrie Ridge 612 with special needs will be served in enriching environments. Students currently attending Uwharrie Ridge 612 in grade 10 and grade 11 can maintain their class ranks through graduation. There's an option right here to do that. DPI, Department of Public Instruction for North Carolina, has said they will stand behind that. Number 4, our high-quality staff members at Uwharrie Ridge 612, as well as other schools, will continue to work in our school system. Uwharrie Ridge 612 staff will be reassigned to the vacant positions in the school system, and should you choose to close Uwharrie Ridge 612, we may possibly, most likely, be able to eliminate pulling jobs from people. Finally, because the school system will realize savings from this closure, students across the school system will continue to receive a high-quality education and a variety of programs with academic rigor that the leadership of the school system wants to offer. I can assure you, board members, and anybody listening, Stephen Gainey does not make decisions. I'm 56 years old. I was raised in a house to be honest and tell the truth. And I promise you, I'm never going to bring something to you with the intention of upsetting you. Being the leader of the Randolph County school system is an honor to me, and it has been since the day I was named. But being the leader of the Randolph County school system means sometimes I have to stand alone and make recommendations to our school system, about our school system, that may not make everybody happy, but may be needed. And from my professional opinion, working with my staff members, and following the staff, and then following the academics, and following the financial pieces of our school system, I stand behind my recommendation that Uwharrie Ridge 612 needs to be closed so we can better serve students, all 14,493 students in the Randolph County school system. If you have any questions, I'll answer as many questions as you have.
I guess we would ask for any discussion, any board members. Let's start over there, Todd. Do you have any?
Before you do that, Todd, so the public safety, that is just for the Uwharrie Ridge students that are coming over, or is it?
It'll be for everybody. But we would have loved to have had more.
Does it phase out, or is it?
No, it would just be a permanent program.
Okay.
We haven't been able to put it up. We've only got it at Random and Wheatmore and Uwharrie right now. But we love more kids to be in that program. So this will only help the program too, if Southwest kids want that program too. So we put that program in at Uwharrie Ridge.
Two years ago.
2 years ago, is that right? Public safety, 24, 25. And as a matter of the photography program, I mean, the plumbing and collision repair. Plumbing, we put in 7 seats, we've used 5. And collision repair, we put in 10 seats, we've used 3. So those are the 2 that we probably, I have not talked to our director of CTE about what the future of that is. But obviously, what people don't realize is everywhere, cuts are coming everywhere. And so I don't know that he'll be able to keep those going, even if they move those to, he's not told me those are in the plans at this point.
Any discussion?
I have something to say, please. First of all, Dr. Gaines, thank you and your staff for everything you've done for this study. Thank you to my fellow school board members for the work we've done. I know personally, since February, this is all the stuff I've been looking at and researching. I've taken this very seriously, as my fellow school board members have also. There's been countless conversations, and what is. Some had the opportunity to speak at the public hearing last week, and I appreciate hearing what those 44 individuals had to share, as well as the 3 others tonight. There has been conversations at Walmart, grocery stores, restaurants, church, and gas stations. Everywhere we go, somebody wants to talk about it, and I appreciate that. This is a very highly emotional and difficult decision. One thing I would like to ask of anyone going forward with anything within our school system, if you want to know the truth about what's going on in our school system, get engaged and ask questions. To be engaged is to learn what is happening in our schools, volunteer, look at your individual school and county website for info. Attend or watch our school board meetings and research what is going on locally and state level with our education framework we must work in. Guys, education is totally different than when we went to school. Everybody went to school to a local school system, and the rich kids went to private schools. That was the only options. But it's not like that anymore. We take our responsibilities very seriously. And we do put students first in all we do. Because if you look above that, it also says Randolph County School System. I understand that it was easy to use our slogan to push your message about Uwharrie Ridge 612. But everyone here needs to understand that we get elected to make decisions for our entire school system. My fellow board members are good, moral people who took a sworn oath and attended a required ethics training. We have a great board attorney that keeps us operating under the educational-related laws and policies. She gets upset with us, but she's good, very good. Our superintendent works very hard, and he too will not jeopardize his duties or credentials earned as a North Carolina superintendent with false information. I want everyone to know what I want everybody to know what has contributed to our enrollment numbers. Did you know that 1 in 4 K-12 students have chosen their educational path other than traditional public schools? There's 150,000 North Carolina students enrolled in just over 200 charter schools with a wait list of 75,000 students. Just since 2019, enrollment at charter and lab schools has increased by 46.6%. Homeschool students are currently at 165,200. There are 11,345 students using online public schools, 2,600 students using remote charter schools, 110,000 students at North Carolina virtual public schools. The private school student population is 136,500 students at 872 North Carolina schools. Did you know that private school families have access to the Opportunity Scholarship Program, which provides financial vouchers for up to 3 years for household incomes from $40,034 to $653,013. That's right, $653,000. The enrollment for these school options continues to grow across our state and will continue to grow. The foreseeable norm for every traditional North Carolina public school system and school board is what can we do to keep our schools open and continue to employ our people. Hard decisions are being made now across North Carolina. 350 staff members eliminated in the Winston-Salem Forsyth County school system. Durham Public Schools cutting 112 teaching jobs and 27 central office employees. Chapel Hill Carrboro system eliminating 114 teaching and central office roles. Wake County Schools reducing their budget by $20 million. And Charlotte Mecklenburg School System will cut their hiring back by 10%. School systems that have recently or will be closing schools are Chapel Hill Carrboro Schools, Cumberland County Schools, Gate County Schools, Ramble County Schools, Guilford County Schools, and Winston-Salem Forsyth Schools. Enrollment reductions have and will affect every traditional North Carolina public school. This is education now. We didn't have that back in our day. If people want to send their children to other school choice options, that is completely up to their personal decision. We work with the children and staff that enters the doors of our schools within our school system daily. That's all we can control. If we want those school option students back within our school system, I know my board members know what I'm going to say next. We got to get better.
Amen.
Parents, grandparents, community members, help us. Send your child to school daily, ready to learn. Our school system does not take place of your parenting responsibilities. In return, we will do our best to provide your children with professional and caring staff in a safe school environment. Our job is to educate your child and provide choices for them to become self-sustaining adults. This is what we must do together. Per the study of the Uwharrie Ridge 612 we received in February, the recommendation is to close Uwharrie Ridge 612 on the following factors: school performance, school capacity, forecasted school capacity, impact of students enrolled, and a $1.3 million recurring funding shortage if the Uwharrie Ridge 612 continues to open. Randolph County school enrollment has dropped 23% since 2015. Our school system enrollment is 14,694 students at 70% capacity. Uwharrie Ridge is currently at 55% capacity. We also have 3 schools with less students in Uwharrie Ridge 612, Farmer Elementary, Franklinville Elementary, and Providence Grove High School, which is only 18 years old. Per the recommendation to close Uwharrie Ridge 612, the students will be moved to Southwest Randolph Middle School and Southwest Randolph High School. Per the OREA 10-year study enrollment forecast by the Institute of Transportation Research and Education at NC State University that we have received, Southwest Randolph Middle School capacity level for the next 10 years will be 100%, 98%, 98%, 96%, 91%, 90%, 92%, 96%, and 99% was 6-8 students from Uwharrie Ridge. Those numbers do not take into account any of Dr. Gaines' recommendations tonight. That is alarming to me, and mobile classrooms would have to be added. With a school system capacity of 70%, there should not be any mobile classrooms. We are building a new Randleman High School due to the current capacity level of 94%, and it has 19 mobile classrooms, and frankly, we can't build there because the location is landlocked. So if we are using Randleman High School as a current metric to build a new school, then we need to either start looking for land for Southwest Randolph Middle School or planning to add additional space. When the 9-12 grades were added in 2017-18, the goal was to increase student enrollment with open enrollment and CTE programs with the best intentions and commitment from those involved. It didn't work due to a lack of effort and creativity. 1.3 million at the 1.3 million recurring funding shortage. The funding shortage is a shortage for our entire school system, not because of one school. Our funding shortage can be addressed with long-term planning while being fiscally responsible to our taxpayers. Remember and do not forget, enrollment is directly tied to our funding. My personal decision will not be to close Uwharrie Ridge under the following conditions. Don't clap. Don't clap. You need to listen. My personal decision will not be to close Uwharrie Ridge under the following conditions with additional options that need to be explored more in depth past tonight. If we're looking at immediate needs for just the 26-27 school year, then I will look at this option. Open Uwharrie Ridge next year as a 6A. The middle school will be operated the same as every other middle school in our system in regards with the number of teachers and support staff, classroom sizes, curriculum resources, etc. Grades 9-12 will be moved to Southwest Randolph High School next year, and the current sophomore and junior classes at Uwharrie Ridge will be recognized as Uwharrie Ridge 6-12 graduates, and their class ranking will be determined by their own school number and not affect current Southwest Randolph High School students, as Dr. Gaines presented tonight, and thank him with the effort him and his staff did to have that option available with DPI. To address some of the budget shortfall for 26-27, the savings to move the 9-12 students to Southwest Randolph High School would be $395,000. I ask that the remaining $1 million will come from our fund balance, which has a current balance of $6,780,000. There are no restrictions on how the money is used, or does it have to be replaced. It should also be noted that per the Local Government Commission, LGC, a school system should have at least 8% of the combined amount of our Fund 2 budget, which is current expense, Fund 7 budgets, AT tax, Fund 8 budget, which is state and federal grants, to be compliant. With the $1 million applied next school year, we will still be compliant with our budget and responsibility. We are audited annually, and we are led by a great finance manager, Marty Trotter, and his great staff. The fund balance cannot continue to be dipped in annually because there will be even more expected shortages that will need attention sooner than later. But we can all agree that Uwharrie Ridge cannot operate just as a middle school because the next 10 years of forecasted capacity is only at 32%. We need to consider and explore making Uwharrie Ridge a K-8 school. We need to get the cost to convert the necessary classrooms per the North Carolina elementary grades facilities requirement and see if we can acquire funding for our county commissioners for this project, and that the construction line can be done while operating Uwharrie Ridge as a middle school. So where will the students come from? We currently have a student pathway we use now with students going to Uwharrie Ridge from both Tabernacle Elementary School and Farming Elementary School. we could look at and explore if that could be an option. Randolph County has 17 schools that were originally built 50 years or more ago. Uwharrie Ridge is 24 years old with a capacity of 660 students. Tabernacle Elementary was built 71 years ago, and no additions have been made in 30 years, which is longer than when Uwharrie Ridge was built. By making Uwharrie Ridge a K-8 school, the capacity levels over 10 years will range from 78 to 80%. Farmer Elementary was built in 1992 with no additions made, and their projected 10-year student enrollments will average 46%. If we don't consider other options, I fear more than anything that funding shortages would have to be made up with employees losing their jobs and students losing access to programs and curricular activities. I'm asking my fellow board members to consider not closing Uwharrie Ridge without us having the opportunity to see if what I have shared, or are there better solutions we can come up with for our entire school system. I've known personally in the Southwest School District what effect Uwharrie Charter K-12 Academy has had, and still to this day, tension is still there because of that, and the declining enrollment numbers have affected those Southwest District schools the most. I don't want to see the Southwest District take another gut punch because we're not willing to consider other options to bring more stability to this school district and school system. I appreciate everyone for listening.
Anyone else?
Well, Todd didn't leave much open, but one thing I want to, that I'm concerned about is Southwestern Randolph Middle School will be at capacity day one. Okay, that didn't include what Dr. Gainey gave tonight. That will alleviate some of that capacity, some of the pressures. But back in 2000, now one thing you got to understand with Uwharrie Ridge, location. Location hurts that school, but the location, that school was here before most of us, maybe all of us, got to be a member of the board. But back in 2000, it cost $11,271,742 to build that school. It's 26 years old. I guess it's been used for about 23, 24 years. If down the road, two things I'm looking at. One, we're looking at building Roundland and Liberty. We know from our funding and what we've been told that before you could do anything with a new middle school, if we needed one, would be 15 to 20 years down the road, because those schools typically need to be paid for before we take the next step. You're looking at building a new middle school today, if that was an issue, for overcrowding at Southwest Middle School of 40 to 50 million, okay? I think that we need to keep that building within the school system. We may need it. There's a lot of different things that play into that, but I feel like we're giving away a good campus. I'm not sure it would bring back, if it was sold on open market, it would bring back a considerable amount of money. But that's one thing that I am concerned about, is the overcapacity of Southwestern Randolph Middle School. That Uwharrie Ridge was built for that reason, because Southwest was overcrowded, so they built that to alleviate it. Now, on the same hand, there's going to be, if it was to be left open, there's going to be major changes. The high school, we've done everything possible the 3 years I've been on this board to make that high school work, and it's just not working. And I'm sorry, but I mean, that's just the way it is. But I'm like Todd, I feel like that we could operate it as a middle school and then look toward possibly a K-8 school down the road. The growth is not there right now, and that concerns me about Farmer and Tabernacle. And so I don't know what the future holds there, but I personally think that we need to try to keep that building within the school system if we can.
Okay, I've been on this school board for 13 years. I have probably been the biggest advocate sitting in this building for Uwharrie Ridge. I mean, you can set some of this staff here, it ain't year in, year out, I've taught for Uwharrie Ridge. My daughter went to Uwharrie Ridge. And you know, we listened to public comments last week, and 98% of the people were real cordial, real polite. You know, there was a few. I know a couple of us wasn't called out by name, but references were made. And, you know, that hurt. I have people said stuff on social media about me when Ella was up here reading her script. Look, he wouldn't even look at her. No, I wasn't. I was reading her paper where I make sure I didn't miss anything she said. I have a 64-year-old brother with special needs I am raising, so don't give me that. I know where y'all are at. Then we hear we don't give nothing time. If you opened a business and you had one person come in, could you keep that business open? No, so we can't keep classrooms open when no kids wants to sign up or take that class. No, we can't do that. You know, we don't give it time. You know, they said they had an ag program, we got took away. I was a big advocate for the ag program. I've seen the numbers dwindling in it. When they had their FF banquet for a couple of years, guess who paid for that? The man you're seeing sitting here paid for it. So, you know, people can say what they want about me, but I know what that school's meant to me, what it's meant to my family, and everything. You know, we took this job. Yes, when we took it, we said, hey, we'll be the punching bag. And I heard people say, y'all be ashamed of yourself. I'm like Mr. Cutler, I'm going to say some stuff might make people mad. You know, when it involves your kid, you speak up. But like Mr. Cutler said, get involved. You know, some of the people came last week probably ain't never been to a school board meeting, unless their kid was here to get recognized. And I'm probably going to say this, and some of my colleagues here probably don't like it. Last election, how many people run for the school board? Tracy Bowles wasn't going to run again. I've been here for 3 terms. I don't think Mr. Cutler was going to run again. But guess what? Randolph County with over 100,000 people in it, nobody signed up to run. So you can sit here and punch on us all you want, but get involved. You know, there might be some out there now saying, yeah, I'm going to run the school board because you're mad. You know, so be it. You know, because I tell you, after this term, I've had enough. Nobody's sitting up here on the school board except for maybe Miss Whitaker even has a kid in the school system anymore. The county's got to get involved. You got to know, you come to these meetings like Mr. Cutler, you get informed more, you'll know what's going on. But people don't do it until it affects their kid. But every day the school system is affecting your kid. Dr. Gaines worked hard at it. I applaud him for his staff, what the recommendations they worked hard on. You know, yeah, I seem a little mad, I am mad. I don't want to make this decision. It's not easy. I got friends, people I know sitting out there. I got friends who were here last week. I live in that community. But hey, told some of them I'm going to run again. Why? We need you. I said, why don't you run? I don't have time. You know, people got time when it affects their little Susie or little Johnny. But they don't have time when it affects somebody else's. It's a big decision. I ain't told nobody how I'm gonna vote. I ain't gonna tell you till it's time. But, you know, I hope it has opened some of y'all's eyes. Because all right now, like I say, we got 14,000 kids who depend on us, not 400. So, that's where I'm at right now.
Wow, how can I follow this? You know, I'm gonna go a different angle. I'm not mad, I'm not upset. I'm just gonna tell you what I truly believe from the heart. And every decision I've made, when I make a decision for the school board, for all the years I've been here, except one, I went home and I could sleep. I made a mistake during COVID. I did, I voted the wrong way. And I finally made it right, but it bothered me for a while. I just had that one all wrong. But the other night when I came in for the hearing, a lady met me at the door, said, you know, she knew who I was and all. We were talking about the Uwharrie. She said, I said, you know, it's $1.3 million, that's a lot of money. And, you know, our job is to look after the whole school system. And it stuck with me. It said, you know, people could lose their jobs. 35 to 40 people in the real world could lose their jobs. Some of the Uwharrie Ridge staff would probably lose their job. People you love and trust. And she said, well, I don't care about the jobs. I just care if you keep my school open. And I've thought about that all week. And, you know, Dr. Gainey, I'm sure out here, that superintendent has a tough job. But what that superintendent did do since March the 9th, he went out the next morning because he heard that young lady sitting right over there talk about, you know, I'm going to lose my class ranking. And her mom and dad, her dad come up here and he said, no matter what you come up with, I'm going to pray for you and all. And that family stuck with me more than anybody. So he goes out and he calls DPI. He spends about 2 days, if I'm not mistaken. And they come up with a plan, and they denied him the first time. But he called back. And he kept on to, they made a deal that, you know what? The Uwharrie Ridge juniors and seniors, if you choose juniors and seniors, which I would choose juniors and seniors, they could go to Southwest Randolph, keep all their GPA and all their accolades, and graduate in a separate graduation. You could go to Uwharrie Ridge students, or you took it to Journey Church or wherever. And then he went a step further and said, well, the overcrowding, you know, maybe we'll see what we can do to help Farmer. So he grades K through 6, and at Tabernacle, the same thing. Now, when I was my kids were in school, we had a 6th grade school at Braxton Craven. And I'll tell you, not only will it help the overcrowding in the Southwest, but in the real world, because, you know, nowadays 6th grade is considered middle school. But that little 6th grade break was kind of cool for my kids. It gave them that extra year to mature. And when they went into that school with 7th graders, they weren't like, you know, the 6th graders, you're the low man on the totem pole. You're the little guy. And when they went into 7th and 8th graders, it gave them a little bit, you know, that was cool. And I also can relate a little bit back with my kids. My boys were Trinity Bulldogs in the 9th and 12th, my oldest son. And he was a football player. He was Trinity Blue all the way, Bulldog Red, Bulldog, thought he'd be Bulldog Red, I guess. But anyway, Wheatmore High School was built, and we had to split that school. So his junior year, everybody said, well, you're on the school board, you don't have to make that choice, you know. You know, I probably could have took the easy road out at that time, but I couldn't because I had to lead by example. He had to go to Wheatmore, so my boys went to Wheatmore. So he went from a football team where they were doing a pretty good job to getting absolutely creamed, let me tell you. Caught running 58 to nothing, I mean, going to Carver, I mean, we praying to God to get out there without him getting broke, or any kid getting broke into, but we made it. But, I guess what I'm saying, no matter what happens here tonight, it'll work out. I mean, pray about it, it'll work out. And, I do think if this, and look, I've been with Tracy, every year we have work sessions, we talk about what can we do to Uwharrie Ridge. We played this thing over for 6 years at least. We spent $400,000 from the commissioners to turn it into a 612 school. The high school, we thought it would work. You know, the first year I think you had 509 or something like that. But then the charter school started coming. And there's no doubt the effect of the charter school in the whole southwest area, it is here to stay. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Do I like it? No. Do I have to live with it? Sure, it's part of it. You can't change it. It is what it is. But I cannot, the high school's not working. It's just not enough. But to go back to a middle school, you know, we went to a high school because we had 300 and some kids. Now, if we talk about going back to Uwharrie Middle School, we're going to go backwards and we'll have 200 and some kids. I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me. You spend $400,000 to go down the road, but you're going to go back, go the other way, 100 in the hole. At the end of the day, if that school closes, we will save $1.3 million. That is a fact. Don't talk about money. Well, in the school system anymore, it is about money. Last year, we had to find, what, $4 million? I mean, I'm not sure. We got programs we didn't rehire. We tightened up the belt with jobs. I mean, people had to do 2 jobs that were doing 1. We made a lot of cuts, and none of you know about it. It's supposed to be, you can find out. But our job as a school board to look after the big picture. Yes, we want what's best for the kids. I truly believe that these kids, with the extra effort that you've done, your kids, I think they'll be fine where they go. I believe that. I trust that. I mean, we have good people. And some of those teachers that you think you love, I mean, they're going to go with those kids to Southwest. It's not the end of the world, in my opinion, if we vote that way. But I cannot sit here and tell you that I can support spending 1.3 to keep the school open, and then next year we're going to be in the same boat again. See, it's reoccurring. It's not a one-year thing. Next year, that school, it costs $1.3 million to run that school. You know what that means? That means 35 to 40 people could lose a job. 35 to 40 people, single moms, people out here living paycheck to paycheck. People could lose their house. Look how high prices are now. Food, feed their kids. I mean, there's people in the school system, they have no clue that their job's on the line if we don't do something at Uwharrie Ridge. They will wake up one morning and be totally shocked. And the same thing, if we kick it on down the road, it's going to happen next year. Yes, I hate it. I wish there was a perfect answer. But I just, in all honesty, your kids will be fine. I honestly believe that. The staff, they'll be fine. The staff's upset. Sometimes I think the staff has, like, you know, I found it funny last week, a little disappointing. We, after the hearing, we got emails like all day, almost every day, 10, 12 emails from kids. And, but they stopped when school was out. So I was thinking, the assignment for today was to write emails to board members. I mean, you know, you could have been teaching those kids. Mr. Cover, you visited that school. We had a conversation. You went in a class where there was 2 kids, and you went in a history class where there was 8 kids. That's great in a make-believe world, but we're in the real world. You guys, yeah, Uwharrie Ridge, over the last 3 years, this is true, they have had 14 extra positions. What that means, the school system, you're allotted so many teachers, and it's based on enrollment. So to try to make that school work, build it up, whatever. First year you had 6 extra staff members. That means over and above what you were allotted. Last year you had 5. Now this year you have 3. But last year when you had 5, you know what was happening? Somebody mentioned something about take it from Randleman, okay? Last week. Well, you know what? Randleman took it from you. They had 61 students in the history class while you guys were having 8. They had to have the history class in the theater because they did not have the allotted staff because they were at Uwharrie Ridge. Now, I'm as sorry as I can be that we're in this situation. I wish to God we wasn't. The low well funding has gone away. I mean, we can blame everybody. I honestly tend to blame Toyota changing our values a little bit, property values, and whatever that formula is. Everybody wanted the mega site. You know what? Since that mega site's come to town, I haven't seen one good thing for Randolph County school system from that mega site. Not one thing. You know, I would have thought at least, well, Eastern Randolph, maybe we'll build some tennis courts, or we'll name it after you, or Southwest Randolph, maybe we'll put something down there and name it after, put a Toyota name on it. No, not one daggum thing. They just, welcome to Randolph County, okay? I'm not sure where their growth's gonna even be in Randolph County, maybe Guilford County, Pleasant Garden area, but anyway. If you wanna know what, guess what? I drive a General Motors, I don't drive a Toyota. Okay, I'm finished, thank you.
In the weeds.
I don't know if we're going down the line.
I guess we are. I was thinking it headed that way.
Yeah.
He said left.
You just jumped, Sharon.
I know.
I'm good.
She kicked me and said she wasn't talking there. You know, I'm gonna make this quick because we need to vote. If anybody else needs to talk, they can talk. But so Todd, on what you're proposing, I just want to make sure you're saying that there's still be a school being closed, correct? I mean, you're saying that make that a middle school, then
Eventually make it a K.
eventually be a K-8, so we would be
Eventually,
closing.
you would have to close a school or 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
you would.
Well, so just to clarify, you would.
This is just hypothetical.
Yeah.
It's nothing that we.
Not
We're not voting on that.
tonight,
That's
we
what we
wouldn't
need to
vote
do.
tonight, that's all.
It's just throwing it out there, that's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, first of all, as far as our vote tonight, and I know we had, like I said, wait 30 days for that. We cannot wait. These people out here, well, people in the community, it needs to be settled. It needs to be settled. Either we're closing it, and with all respect to Phil, it's closed for good, or it's being open, it's staying open for good. That, it's not we'll come back and look at it again 6 months, a year, 2 years, it's either we're gonna close the school, or we're going to keep the school open, and somewhere, it seems to be a minimum of about 19 positions are gonna be lost in our school system. So it's either close the school, or keep the school open and cut jobs. That's what it's gonna come down to as far as the vote, so, as far as Uwharrie Ridge versus another school, something like that, you cannot argue that it's certainly more efficient to do Uwharrie Ridge, whereas if you close Tabernacle, or Farmer, then you got to convert the school over to a K-8, extremely expensive. We couldn't convert it for as much as we built it for 24 years ago. It probably cost $15 million. I have no idea what it cost, but I know if it cost 50 to build one, we couldn't convert this one for probably less than 15. I wouldn't think. So it's just, when we're talking about money issues, it's just not a good use of what we have, to sit there and spend whatever, 10, 15, 16 $million to convert that. Although I know saying we're closing, a different school, but.
Can I ask a question, to Dr. Gainey? When elementary schools are built, what grade levels have to have the bathroom, kitchen type thing to be shared?
Typically, what I see is K2 maybe.
Okay.
It's the lower grade levels. I don't think any parent will be happy with us sending a kindergartner down the hallway.
Right, it would have to be converted.
Yeah, I would say, I think, top of my mind is K2, maybe K3, but I don't think it is. I'm just trying to think where, I think it's, I'm looking at, the school I'm thinking about right now is Grace Chapel's in my mind, because I could think how that school was organized. And I think that whole building is K2, that front building is K2, and then when it gets to 3 on up, it changes. So.
And so people know, when we're talking about conversion, 2 classrooms in K2 has to have a bathroom to share between them and a kitchen? 2 bathrooms. Or 2 bathrooms?
No, I mean, there's, part of that's the way schools are set up, but you could have a bathroom in each classroom.
Okay.
You got a lot of things when you start converting. You got playgrounds.
Yep.
You also,
And to replace what communities have done at the schools?
certainly,
Yep.
got a lot of things. You've got a lot of things.
You could run into issues like Asheboro, they don't plumbing and all.
The kitchen issue doesn't jump at me. I think the kitchen is because it just happens to be there. I don't remember that being a requirement. There's no kitchen.
There's no kitchen required, it's just
I
bathroom.
don't think
No,
so,
but-
I don't have the code.
So-
memorized.
But we all know that we're not.
The issue is, this has not been researched because this wasn't the recommendation. We've been talking
Right.
since the fall of 2025 and before about what we're talking about tonight. So I'll be hesitant to talk so much about it, but I do believe it would be a big undertaking. I do believe it would be several $1 million. I do believe you would, well, I know you haven't built playgrounds, there's no playgrounds out there. The other problem I have said to people, and this, I've heard this topic come up, not as much directly to me as I've heard it, is you gotta remember something that's in the report. Uwharrie Ridge has a capacity of 660. There cannot be any trailers. There cannot be any building onto that school because of the water sewer system. That's right off there in the early parts of this report. So if you go there and you make some kind of combo school, one of the things I've heard from at least one board member is, well, we don't want to have to ask for a school we really don't need. Well, I think you're putting yourself in that position if you go out there, because what if it does take fire and I mean, we got the school in 1920, I think it was, the third year we had grades 9 through 11, or 6 through 11 at Uwharrie Ridge. We got that school to 507. Okay? What if you did some kind of combo and the school ran off to 660? Then what are we going to do? We're locked. And the 660 is its capacity of people regularly on this campus. So you got to leave a little bit of window for staff. So, I just say that. I mean, I never say never, but I've heard a little bit on that piece, and that's where my pause would be. But obviously we haven't researched this in great extent because that's
Yeah, and it just speaks to that much more expense, because first of all, we know we're not going to build or retrofit something halfway. We're not going to do the minimum. We didn't build Trinity Middle School to the minimum. We exceeded every other middle school out there, so we would do the same thing if we had to retrofit Uwharrie Ridge for a K-8, either K-8 or K-5 elementary, but I can't see that being a very good use of tax dollars. It's just, that does not seem like it as far as it is so much more efficient. I know people won't hear it, so it's much more efficient to say, we'll close one that doesn't cost us as much versus close one that then we got to go back and retrofit another building for those students to move into. I do think that, the K-6 option there, first of all, if we voted to close the school, do we have to vote on that tonight though,
Well,
and
no.
that part, I mean, because that's something I
You
think.
don't have to vote on it.
You don't have to vote on it
Okay.
tonight, you don't have to vote on the other one tonight.
Right,
The question becomes, you know, there is this issue of planning.
right.
We are in March, and so if we did the K-6 piece, we're gonna need to know that sooner than later.
Right, I think there is a little bit more discussion needs to be about the K-6. I'm personally, I'll tell you, I actually like that solution because one of the things we heard, of course, just like I said, was the Southwest Middle School being 99% capacity. If all 91 of those students from those two schools are then at a K-6 school, then we're down to 89, 90% capacity. So that alleviates, one of the issues that we were having there. I certainly like
Would there be an option if they wanted to go to Southwest 6 or stay?
I would say they would follow the student reassignment rules if they wanted to go to Southwest, but being if we decide to make that a K-6, both those a K-6, then the school that they'd be assigned to would be that. So that would be the school they would get transportation to. I don't think we can be running, so they'd have to do a student reassignment request knowing that they'd have to.
Yeah, we
provide
cut down
transportation.
the athletic piece, right?
I think we can make that work, but just like we did at Braxton Craven when the sixth grade athletics came along about 7 or 8 years ago, the sixth graders had to get themselves to the.
I understand,
They had to
that
get
has
there
to be
with the right-
decided soon.
They had to get over there.
Yes. Well, the K-6, I understand, needs to be decided very soon if that's what we're doing. I think, personally, I think we need to know a little bit about, as far as that community, what, how many transfer requests are we going to receive? Are we going to receive a lot of sixth graders whose parents say, I want to go ahead and go to Southwest Middle? Which would be a little ironic compared to some of the things we've heard. So,
She'd have to put it on the table now to find that out.
I understand, but that's not, again, when it comes down to it, we were voting, close the school, keep school open, and find these 19 to maybe as much as 40, but certainly I think 19 positions seems to be very, that math certainly works very easily, 19 that you would have to cut, that's the minimum, I would say. And those are 19 very, very important positions in our school system, so, and I think it's probably going to end up being more than that. No one wants to close the school, guys. Nobody wants to close the school. But I also don't want 20+ people to lose their jobs all around the county. And so, I mean, with that said, whenever we make the motion here, I am going to vote to close Uwharrie Ridge.
Board members, so no one attended tonight gets confused or we don't have the wrong information out there. If you recall, on January 12th, I presented that we need to cut $2 million more in addition to the $4.6 million we're after this year. And we've at this point reached $4,091,000 on cuts that we needed to make for 2026. So just so no one gets confused and hears this, the $2 million more will involve the $1,185,000 appropriated fund balance we have in our budget right now from the low health cut. Because you remember that came on later, and we said we don't have time to do that, and the 3.3 we're after. So that $2 million more will cover that, so we can't keep appropriated fund balance in the budget. And it also would account for the cuts that we've received in our allotments already from DPI for next year, which includes, just so you know, one item, $510,000 in reduction in EC services funding. So that's what we're after, and just so anybody listening, the savings from closing Uwharrie Ridge would be $1.3 million. Now,
if, there's a lot of different renditions about this. But here's how it looks. The bookkeeper goes to a vacant bookkeeper job in Randolph County School System. That position is eliminated. They don't take their position so some school has a second bookkeeper. The assistant principal goes to a vacant assistant principal job. We eliminate the position. That's where 1.3 million come from. It costs us a lot more than 1.3 million to run the school, but there's the savings. The state pays for the principal's position. The state doesn't pay for the supplements for the principal position. The principal goes to another position. That position gets eliminated. General office assistant, data manager, student advocate. So people are walking around talking a lot about this. The people move to the vacant positions in the other parts of the school system, and the position at Uwharrie gets eliminated. We have a long history of doing this. We do a teacher displacement process every spring for this very thing, so teachers don't lose their jobs. A school gets smaller, they don't get as many positions in the allotment as they did the year before, somebody gets displaced. I've been running that process for 18 years in my previous job as Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. Through the recession, it works. We'll apply the same thing. The people at Uwharrie Ridge would get the first dibs on jobs. We're not going to let anybody else move till we get them placed. We already have holds on some jobs. You don't have so many data manager jobs open. You don't have so many bookkeeper jobs, or treasurer jobs. Andrea's got those jobs. She's sitting there waiting to see if this happens. We're ready to provide some opportunities. But make no mistake, we've got to find at least $2 million more above the $4.6 million that we are working on for 25-26. We have cut $4,091,000 this year, and no one in the Randolph County School System has lost their job. And you remember January 12th? I was no popular January 12th than I was February 9th or today on March 16th. January 12th, I brought you a list of extras that we do that could be possibilities. That was a whole list of personnel. Then on February 9th, I brought you this, and y'all pulled off that list. Another thing on the docket tonight is tier bus system. Y'all pulled off the January 12th list and asked us to bring it back. So we've had two different things going. I will continue to explain it to whoever has questions. But that's where we are. We need to find $2 million more in addition to the $4.6 million we've been working on this year. And we're not done. It's March, we're not done. We're going to get really close to 4.6. But what the Randolph County School System cannot do is continue to have appropriated fund balance in our budget. And Marty and I talk about this all the time. And if you look at the budget Marty showed you tonight, and the budget that we're going to bring next board meeting to you and take to the commissioners, until we have action of some type, we've got appropriated fund balance in there right now for next year. That's not good. But it also wasn't good that the Randolph County School System took a $2,485,000 hit to low wealth money. We get to $10 million one year, we're back down to $7.5 million. That wasn't good either, and that was a surprise to us. But I'm not into the excuse making, I'm into the let's lead and do.
And that's why we can't, we as a board, we cannot, we can't be like other school systems in the area that have spent money they did not have. And we can't pull money, we pulled money in the past out of the fund balance. We had to work to get it back in there, and we cannot do that, or we're gonna be in the same boat that other systems are, where we're sitting around and expecting the state to come bail us out. And that is not being a good steward with what we have, and we have to operate under a balanced budget. And, you know, and that is, I mean, that's why it is besides for me, it's the most efficient thing. It is, I do not want to be part of the decision to cut people rather than close the school. And we have a school that we have thrown lots of money at for years, and some of it worked, some of it didn't. And So, I'm gonna be quiet now, unless I don't want to use.
I do have a question. So if we close a school, nobody loses their job. Does that include that other $2 million that we gotta come up with? Could there be job cuts
If we
in
close
that?
the school, the 1.3 million that you would save from closing the school, like there's $160,000 being spent on custodians. We allot custodians based on square footage of schools. We won't be sending those custodian positions somewhere, we'll send those people to
Right, I
positions. So
understand that.
there's $126,000 in utilities that are spent on that school. That'll go away. So that would count, that 1.3 would count towards that 2 million we're after.
Okay,
So that would get us out of the-
700 and some odd thousand.
Well, we've got something we're gonna talk about tonight, it's gonna help towards that. And then we can ease close to that. I mean, how do we get to where we are now? How do we get to the 4,091,000? We worked on natural attrition, we worked on, I mean, we've got, positions here, everybody in the central office has been doing extra all year long. And we're making it. It's not a lot of fun to everybody, but everybody, the focus is what can we keep out in the schools? And so we committed and we'll keep working at it. But, you know, Mr. Lanier, like right now, on that list I told you guys, the January 12th list talked about the idea of reducing 6 assistant principal positions. Well, guess what? We've already got one. That's $92,806 towards that extra, what we've got to get to. And we've got something on the agenda tonight that could be added to this and keep us moving towards that 2 million. You know, everybody wants to talk about we don't have a state budget. Well, guess what? School started just like it normally did without a state budget. The state and the kids aren't, the state's is not going to hold up school starting, and our kids are not going to say, let's hold on, our parents aren't say, let's hold on, our teachers aren't. We're going to start school. We're on March 16, we don't have a state budget. We're well into the 25-26 school year. And I'm proud of the work we've done. I'm proud of it. I'm not going to apologize for what we've done so far, and I'm sorry we're here. But I'm proud of where we are, is what we've done in the face of budgets.
I mean, you know, yeah, low wealth money, we got sent from tier 1 back to tier 2, probably because of 12. But we also were told, too, that the tax incentives 12 received, it'd be 15 to 20 years before they come off. So Randolph County is not seeing the money that people think 12 is gonna give the county. It'll be 20 years before you see that money. And that was told straight to us. So don't think we're receiving all this money from Toyota, we're not.
But, and to Mr. Cutler's point, you look at it any way you want. You can argue with me, anybody out there wants to argue. The game has not changed, the game plan with the state of North Carolina. If you don't have the students, you don't get the funding. On January 12th, I also showed you that we were 337 students less for next year. That'll be 17 less teacher positions next year. Those people will be displaced around the school system. But you mentioned it, ADM's going down. I think we went to a meeting the other day, Marty and Andre and I, and the 10 biggest school systems in the state of North Carolina, only 2 of them increased their ADMs. Isn't that what we saw today?
Only 6 in the state.
6 in the state.
It's the whole state.
Wow.
But 2 of the big, it was 2 of the big 10. What was that stat today?
Brunswick was
Yeah, Brunswick was 100 and some students. That was the biggest one. So, you know, you've got, if you don't move with your ADM, your enrollment, so I use ADM, I hate acronyms. If your student enrollment's going down and you're not going back and you're not cutting your budget, you're setting yourself up for a train wreck. And that's just no other way to say it. Your budget will be a train wreck eventually.
I mean, it's all over the state, you know, I was watching the news, Guilford County, they presented their budget to their commissioners, and they were wanting the commissioners to help fund them. Their school budget was $1 billion. They said that was more than it took to run the whole county. And they're expecting the county to come up with the money to help them offset that. But it's not gonna happen in Gifford County.
We can expect anybody to bail us out, for sure.
Shannon, you do anything?
I mean, I feel like you guys said it all. I mean, I guess one thing I could say, to the kids that came up and stood and talked and then downplayed the fact that you can't go to a different school or you can't be successful, kids, you stood up and did something I don't think I could have done. I really don't. And I'm a crier, I don't get mad, so I'm hoping I don't cry, but you have no idea how special that is. And you are gonna go and be successful wherever you go. Don't sell yourself short. So, that's it. I'm gonna get my ugly crying face off.
My question is, when the motion goes out, what are we gonna do? Do you include the 6, 7, the K-6? Or can that be added, or how do you do that?
Those two options don't even come into play unless the school votes to close.
Okay.
I think it's cleanest if you vote them separate.
Yes.
All right.
You don't have to, somebody can make a motion for all of it, but I think it's just cleaner for
Okay.
your records if you.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Board members,
How
just,
about the graduation part of it?
That needs to be voted on too.
yeah, all three recommendations have to have
Could
board
they be
votes.
separate, could that
Yeah, they
be
need to
separate?
be
Yeah, I'm
separate.
saying
They need
each
to be
of those
separate.
be separate.
I'd be mindful, and I'm not gonna just, I say this as an educator. I say this as a classroom teacher, as a principal. If whatever you do tonight, if K-6 is on your mind for those two, the sooner we know, the better, because we've got some work to do with the 6th grade teachers to make sure we're addressing elementary, but also getting ready for 7th. We've got to have some time for professional development for that.
I'd rather vote on that next meeting.
Well, I'm just saying, we can't get into May and June, that's
I
the
do have a
problem.
question about that. If that comes about, would we be adding teachers at Farmer and Tabernacle, or would we
It
be
would add
using
according
current
to the
staff?
formulas. It would go according to the formulas, yes.
So we'll be adding 6th grade teachers to both places, plus Southwest Middle would keep theirs.
It would be based on the form of the population.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think, and just for the record, this morning I met with Mr. Lanier, the principal of Southwestern Randolph High School, to make him aware. I did not think he needed to hear this as I'm presenting it. And for the record, but I was in person, and after that I met with Judy Cable and Beth Davis in person in my office. After that, one was 11 after we had the tornado warning and tornado position. And then Judy and Beth came. I didn't think they should hear that by me standing at the podium tonight. I felt I owed all three of those principals more than them hearing it in here tonight.
Well, I would,
Hey, one other thing, Rick. I would also like to dispel the rumor that if this school is closed, we've already in an agreement with Ashboro Hybrid Academy. That is totally false.
Yeah, we got called crooks, we got called we get money put in our pocket. And hey, you think we get rich sitting up here, it's far from it.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
no, that's fine, yeah. That's just probably something he can say. All right. I do move that the Board of Education follow Dr. Gainey's recommendation of closing Uwharrie Ridge 612 effective for the 26-27 school year.
We have a second.
I second.
And I would ask all those in favor of closing school, raise your hand. All those against. Motion carries 4-3.
Okay.
I just want to say one thing. I said, I've said up here and said a bunch of negatives tonight, but Uwharrie Ridge holds a special place for me. And, I understand the community. I know the community. I live in the community. And, it was hard for me to vote the way I did, because all you heard was me sit here saying negative things. The thing is, if you already did stay open, it would have been some big changes there also. You you couldn't leave it open without changes, because everybody's gonna have to bite the bullet. I mean, that's just, was the fact. And, you know, I deal with kids from there week to week. I love those kids, I love the teachers, and you know, I love the people in the community. It's hard to see any way you look at it. And, like I said, I threw a bunch of negatives out there about it, but I had to vote what I felt was right.
Can we vote on the graduation requirement?
Yes,
Yes.
so we'll need a separate motion for that.
Before we go, remember, you got two things under consideration here, guys. Is it the rising juniors and rising seniors, or just the rising seniors? And
We
so,
can do that.
Yeah.
so pick
I
the
don't think
one
you
you
should do
want.
that now. I would vote on that. I think that's important for those juniors and seniors to know that.
Well, I would like to make that motion that we allow the rising juniors and seniors, both, to carry on with the graduation from their diploma from Uwharrie Ridge 612.
Such that the effective date for total closure of Uwharrie Ridge would be 2029.
No,
27, 28 school year.
End of 27, 28.
Okay.
Yeah, two more years of the
Yes.
school number.
Yeah.
27, 28.
2028. I just want to make sure the motion has that end date in it.
Yes, but also the building will be officially closed June 30, 2026.
Yeah.
It'll be secure.
Well, that's covered by the prior motion.
So we're saying, you're saying that you're gonna let juniors and seniors stay under the school number for Uwharrie Ridge, have their own graduation, home class rank, and Jonathan Lanier is on board with that. I've been very excited about the conversations I've had with him. Not to speak for him.
So do I need to restate that, or? we-
No, I
Okay.
think that, board members, you understand the
Do we
motion.
have a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Dr. Gainey, I think it's important that during all this, your conversations with Principal Southwest, it's been very welcoming to any kids or any of our students coming over there. I mean, there's been a lot of, conversation going back and all to accommodate them in the most positive way possible. I appreciate that, because I know you, whether either how this week, you've been working on to make that as smooth a transition as possible.
And I'm confident that Jonathan Lanier and Jason Lohr will work on this to help make this a transition. We've got great counselors at Southwest, great counselors at Uwharrie Ridge, great staff. This is all about the kids at this point, and how we transition them.
And Michael Crowder.
And Michael Crowder, yes. I think I didn't even have Michael in the conversation today, but Michael has been excited and ready to embrace it as well. So we'll be ready. Southwest Iowa will be ready.
And one more thing, if I can, Mr. Lohr come to Randolph County last year, and he knew the numbers weren't good and all at Uwharrie Ridge, but he still come to this school system, be a part of Randolph County schools, and he's been a cheerleader and a strong supporter of that school all year, and as he is all Randolph County schools, and I certainly appreciate him being positive and everything through this, and I means a lot, but he's a good man.
And his assistant principal.
Yeah, the assistant principal as well. They've been a good team. They're not been out here throwing stones. They've been doing the right thing.
So we discussed the K-6 though before any kind of motion, or if there is even a motion. Todd said,
Maybe the next meeting, can we do that then, so we can?
We'll need to do it.
Would that be okay next meeting or
It has
what?
to be this meeting or
Don't have
next.
to be the latest. I'm just saying,
Even if there's a
not-
parent survey or something that we can do for those, something that we could get out quickly, I don't know, but just to kind of
well, we'll hear
get
about
the
it.
temperature.
We
Yeah.
definitely, it definitely needs to be decided next month, because that's the deadline.
Mhm. Yeah.
And will you be able to provide us more, maybe precise numbers based on that recommendation? about how many students, or will we just not?
Those numbers are from Thursday, from March 12th.
You won't know till.
Those,
But you won't know the
You won't
impact
know
of the
about-
sixth graders.
you won't know about who applies for reassignment until you do it.
Okay.
You know, we would obviously give some flexibility there if,
Will we have a certain
For-
cutoff date?
huh?
We'll have a certain cutoff date for that?
Yeah, but I think we have to look, what's the cutoff date for reassignment applications?
April 15th?
Maybe May 15th, so I think we could do something with that. Those two subsets of kids, the fifth graders at Tabernacle and fifth graders at Farmer, we could get, I think we could stretch that out a little bit,
Okay.
you know, if they coincide that. But you're not gonna know how many they're gonna ask until you make the decision.
All right, so now we'll move on to Ashley Barr. Slightly lost track. Gosh, Ashley, you changed. Oh, there's
Good evening, board members. Each year, as you know, Senate Bill 387 provides for us to host a free summer reading camp to assist our second and third grade students in reaching reading proficiency. That same North Carolina Ridge achieve legislation also requires our local school boards to establish processes for students who have met grade level proficiency in reading to also apply to attend for a fee. Based on the cost of last year's camp and the number of students in attendance, it's recommended that the fee for the upcoming camp be set at $786 per student. In addition to this, I'm also recommending proficient student applications that are in your packet for approval. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
How much was it last year?
It was lower last year. I just have my look. It was $593, I believe.
We don't have very much attendance on the fee, but the problem is, we've gotta make sure we don't, remember, years ago, we kept giving money back.
Yeah.
But we gotta make sure we don't take on a cost. So that's the way this, yeah, we're concerned to being higher, but we don't have money to do this.
any questions?
Okay, last year's number versus the year before. You know those?
I had a sheet with all of this and it's gone. Is it in my-
Well, actually, I might have,
I'm so sorry, that's why I was rattled. Last year, we had 345 students enrolled, and we spent $271,000 on that camp. Based on the year prior, though, we had set the amount at $524. The year prior, though, our allotment was $217,000. So our allotment is continuing to go up, and that's what makes it more expensive. We have, with that allotment going up, we've been able to add support staff, more class sizes, and provide some more resources. So it has been beneficial.
Has the amount of students been kind of consistent?
It's up and down. Last year it was 345. In 2024 it was 386. In 2023 it was also 345. So it stays right there.
Any more discussion?
The state does cap that amount at $825.
Good.
I'm good.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to approve the summer 2026 reading camp fee and the application for proficient students.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Right. Up next is Larry Chilton.
Good evening, board members. Tonight, we come to you again with the tiered bus plan that was presented back in February by Wendy Anderson. And I want to thank Jamie Smith, Assistant Transportation Director, as well for their hard work on coming up with this proposal. The original deal was two areas, but with the software package and everything, the routing that they use, it was just as easy to route the whole county, and so we had the whole package. And Wendy has the presentation ready to go again if needed. There are options to do the entire county, and then there's an option to do the Archdale, Trinity, Wheatmore, and Randall areas. So it's whatever the pleasure of the board is. What was it? Yeah, Wendy. Yeah, she's the expert. And Jane, come up and. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The original plan was the Wheatmore, Trinity, Ranneman area, correct?
Yes, sir.
What was,
It might be here, and I might have to see it in my paper.
what was, is going, if we just did that area, what was proficiency rate was going to achieve
Is it
then?
269, 269,000?
Well, the rate, the proficiency
Yeah,
rate.
8
plus-
buses for Ranneman, and then 8 buses for Trinity and Wheatmore.
Was that total 269 between both?
92.3.
Yeah, for those
92.3%.
92,
Yes,
if we
sir.
just did that area.
Yes, sir. If we did Randall High and the Trinity Wheatmore area, yes, sir.
Now, did you guys go out and talk to anybody, like, from other areas, other districts, and kind of gauge, like, how was their bumpers and just learning curves and, like, all the little kind of things that kind of go with it? 'Cause,
Yes,
you know, we
ma'am.
know there's gonna be some bumps in the road.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. We talked to, we actually talked a lot to Ashford City because they've been doing it for years. We talked to Stanley County, we talked to Pender County. We tried to find somebody that was like us,
Yeah.
but it's hard to find anybody like us because our schools are so far apart. A lot of the ones that we talked to, because our issue, the one big glaring issue that we're concerned about is what to do with these elementary kids.
Right.
And we couldn't find anybody that really had that problem because nobody else has schools so far apart. But they all said, the sub-bus plan that we came up with about trying to split that route, in case like our driver wasn't able to be there, then the elementary would drive the elementary part, and the middle school would drive the middle school part. That was a major issue for most of them because they didn't have the classified staff that could drive buses. So everything fell on the bus garage.
Right.
And it just decimated the bus garages. So that was the main takeaway we got. Was be prepared for that, be prepared for inclement weather, and we talked a lot about that, we talked about the game about that. And I think we got a pretty good plan on that.
So all the bus drivers will be coming out of your transportation?
So for elementary, middle, yes,
Yeah, so-
yeah, on the tier part,
Be
yes. sir.
coming out.
Yes, sir, they would report directly.
Let
to
me
the
ask
bus.
you just in a real world question. Would it be easier for you guys, just to get off on the start, just to make sure there's no kinks? Would it be easier if you started with, because they're closer together, Archdale, Trinity, and Randleman, before you dove into the big, would that be, do you think that would be something easier on you guys to get going?
Yes.
Well, they're a little more,
I mean, in all
They are,
honesty,
yeah,
would
they are
it,
more together.
would it help
So much
more to get, to see, till you get the kinks out?
It would help with that part. I think one of the big things that Jamie and I are concerned about though, and I'm not knocking those two areas by any means, but we really worry about those eastern kids because they're the ones getting on those buses so early in the morning.
I remember only there, I got on like 5:30, 6 o'clock, got off at 5:30.
Yeah.
We got them getting on a little after 5, and, like today, when that last round of storms rolled in, we would have had buses on the road, still, as late as it was, so, but yeah, it would be, Archdale Trinity area, the only concern that I would have there, I think would be with Hopewell, we looked at that one. If we had Hopewell kids, and we're trying to get that bus over to Wheatmore Middle, what to do with them.
but the other schools wouldn't be a problem at all. Randleman, level cross maybe, we'd have to watch that, how far away that is. You know, those districts aren't pure up there. Some of those level cross kids don't go to Randleman Middle, they go to Northeast Middle. Some of the Randleman Elementary kids go to Northeast Middle.
So it would be a lot easier staff-wise to start out that way, probably.
Absolutely.
You get to.
That's what we were thinking, maybe it'd be
Get the learning
Do
curve.
one or two. And I will say, something too, since the drivers will be reporting transportation, we will have no sub-pool within the garage. We cannot use bus, mechanics, they've got to work on the buses. So the schools are gonna have to be where we would find the sub-drivers at 5:15 in the morning when somebody calls out. We're gonna be very dependent on somebody in the administration of the school answering and then calling whoever's next on their list internally at the school.
But Larry, that's what they're used to doing right now, right?
Right, but
Correct?
they, just because we go tiered does not mean they can no longer do that.
Right,
It's
so,
still
but I'm
gonna have to
saying
be
it's
what they're doing.
pretty much what we're doing right now with
Right,
somebody
so
comes in. Okay.
I just want to make
So
that
that's not-
perfectly clear for the public
Gotcha.
record that
Right.
they're not going to be off the hook to help them
Right.
get that bus stand. So.
Right.
Do we know which area uses bus riders more?
The eastern side?
Less car riders?
Yeah, I mean, they have a higher percentage overall of riding.
So when you say it'd be easier to just do those two, and I know you don't always do things the easy way, because y'all don't have to work very hard, so, but what would you, given the choice, 2 zones, 4 zones, what would you prefer?
You got it.
There, I'm tired of everybody asking me questions, not asking questions.
You say so.
I'll put it this way, the model is already worked out in the system for the whole county. Or we could have never come up with the numbers that you have. So it's there. Has it been run? No, it hasn't. So we don't know what that holds.
Right.
Would it be easier to do 2 sections? Probably, most likely. But it's all there if you wanted to do it all right now. I've modeled it all, I've sat down and gone through every scenario I could think of to even cut more buses, but that's as low as I can go right now. And that's with this year's numbers, okay?
We even made up some scenarios just to see
Yeah,
what would happen.
just to see what would happen.
And, yeah, that's what we came up, we can, honestly, we'll do whatever you want us to
Yeah.
do.
Well,
Your longest ride times.
You're not answering the
Yeah,
question
we
either. That's fine, you probably have mine next
When you say sub buses, you're talking about sub drivers, not
Right.
buses.
Right.
A
And,
sub bus, you can't use a sub bus, right, unless a bus is out of order, is that right?
Right, but if we do the tier, we're gonna cut buses from the routes that we're not gonna need. So I'm gonna have enough buses left that aren't on a route that I can park one at every school. And so then that way, I can call Trindale and say, hey, I need you to run your routes for me, and that bus is sitting right there on their lot. We don't have to try to figure out, they don't have to go to the middle school and get a bus or anything like that.
Yep.
And then when they're done, they just park right there.
Right.
And it's, you know, low maintenance and
Right.
easy for them and what they're used to right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We just got to be able to evaluate how it's working and what kind of problems they're running against. What are the problems the principals are having with their staff? What's going to be required out of them? I can't see us doing the whole system this time.
Because we want to have
Not right now.
consistency and, you know, we want to be able to wrap our arms a little bit to say, like, if this isn't working quite right.
It's gonna be easier to tweak
It'll
2
be easier to
areas.
tweak the little, the 2 ones than to go through the whole side, especially, you know, that Eastern Randolph. Kind of hard to get along with. I do too, that's what I'm saying, I'm the hard to
She
get
said it,
along
but
with.
she's the hard to get
I'm the
along
hard
with.
to get along with
That's
person,
right.
so.
Yeah, I mean, logistically wise, Trinity, Wheatmore area, I mean, I'll say they're the closest together. Randleman probably would be the next one. When you start talking about the southwest, the easterns, the PG areas, you know, we get a little more distance in there. That does make them a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long ride from southwest down to
It
Montgomery
is.
County line down the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Do it under here, 30 minutes on the way.
Remember, one of the positives of all this, when you, Mr. Bowles, you said the long drive, one of the positives of all this is also reducing the amount of ride time.
That was
kids
like,
have.
that was one of my, I was sitting here, I was thinking something, I forgot it, and I was gonna ask you, we didn't
Yeah.
even fix and say about the reduced times and I don't know if you even have it. Since right now, we're really talking about just 2 sections. The reduced times, what would be in those areas in Archdale?
Hour max.
Reduce
Maximum.
from maximum hour.
And
What's the
you-
minimum?
Yes.
I don't know what the minimum will be. I have to look. It probably don't. they
Well, you
probably don't do
meant,
right
you meant an
now.
hour ride max.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant hours is most we could say.
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
no. We gotta get it done in an hour, because that's our turnaround.
Right,
that's our
time.
turnaround.
Right.
I mean,
That, some of the elementaries are right around that right now, maybe a little bit longer. Your middle schools are nowhere near that. The middle schools are way longer
Oh,
than that.
I know.
Way longer.
I got them come by my fire department 4:35.
Yeah.
I don't think y'all can turn middle school around in an hour.
And that adds to frustration on part of drivers, and it adds to behavior problems too. You know, the kids are bored to death on these buses.
That's 30 minutes one way.
Go ahead and ask the question.
Well, I mean,
And
that is the
answer.
question.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You go, I drove a bus over at Southwest Middle School, and I leave over there like it's either 4:45 or 5:15, I don't remember which, but I rode 30 minutes before I picked up the first kid. And so if you're riding 30 minutes one way, and then you're gonna pick up a bus load, or half a bus load, or whatever, and come back, I mean, that's gonna be real tight in an hour turnaround.
But we've got a lot of buses, because when we run the tier, we're leveraging the entire fleet in that area. So you're right, and that bus that runs that 30-minute way out yonder somewhere probably isn't gonna be full, because it can't be.
Right.
But we've got enough other buses to pick up the other kids that are closer, that we can still do better by those kids that live so far away. Because they're getting picked up early and dropped off late. And so that we can do better by them.
Well, you have to turn buses back in,
No,
so
we're
as
gonna
long
use
as
them all.
even though you keep all the buses, that don't affect your efficiency because
It's whatever's routed. And because they won't all be routed, that doesn't count on our efficiency rate.
Who's gonna be responsible for looking after the kids when they get to school 30 minutes before class time?
Principals have been, you talking about elementary, Mr.?
Yeah.
The principals, what I've talked to them about since this started ramping up was obviously we're gonna let things come to us and they're gonna have to come up with their own plan.
So there's not gonna be a uniform plan across the county?
No, sir, it's not. Because I don't want to eliminate the opportunity that there'll be adjustments made by some families that'll keep, that's going to happen, but the principals will be charged with coming up with their own plan.
And that means we're gonna be asking teachers to do extra duty.
I don't know what their plans are going to be, but I don't know.
We drop off 20 to 25 minutes early now, just they go eat breakfast. So that's kind of what we do. And that's our plan with the buses, is drop the buses off at the same time, talking to child nutrition, trying to get them there in time to eat.
Is there anything we do as a school system that, where we cannot pick up a certain grade level or drop them off at a certain time, to where they would be at home alone?
We have 3rd grade and under, we don't drop off unless there's a parent or an adult there. 3rd grade and under, that's the Randolph County Schools policy.
And they would be the later bus routes anyway.
Yes, if we go with the plan that we've got right now, yes.
It's going to help a little bit there.
So we could pick them up at home.
No, because they're still the second. Well,
They're the
you
second
still
load
can-
picked
still
up,
can pick 'em
yeah.
up, you're right.
Which is, that's not great, and we understand that, but the afternoon is the problem. So if we pick them up first, we gotta drop them off first.
And that, the afternoon is where y'all run into the problems of having to take them back to the
Yes, sir.
school.
Yes, sir. And Larry was over at the garage Friday, and it was awful.
We couldn't even have a conversation because the radio was going nonstop.
So that-
Drivers had to take kids back.
And for every one they bring back, there's 2 or 3 more that, bless them, they're out there circling and trying to meet the parent, and, if we bring back 20, 25 kids, there's probably another 20, 25 that they just work their behinds off to get them home. And that doesn't sound like a lot when you look at our total ridership, but if that's 1 kid per bus, That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, these drivers go over and beyond to get these kids home. But we will happily start with 2 areas if you like. We would be happy to do that, and we will be happy to start with Trinity, Wheatmore, and Randleman, or whatever you tell us to do.
We're just happy to be able to do this. Board members, this would, I think, in the report, you see an estimated $269,000 savings for two zones. That would add on top of the savings from the closing of Uwharrie Ridge, and now we're continuing to move up towards what's left to get to the 2 million. Just be cognizant of this. If you pick 2 zones instead of 4, there is a chance you could have a parent working in one zone and their child in another, and that could, not on the same schedule. We also will have to bring in bell schedule changes regardless. That'll come up somewhere between now and the end of the year. Because we'll have to bring in the elementary and middle school bell changes too. Just when you see that and you say, whoa, there's a whole bunch of schools in this list. We used to see maybe 1 or 2 occasionally. This will have more than your normal, so we'll have to adjust the bell schedules on the official bell schedule list. That's not a big deal. I just want to make you aware of why. You're going to get a board packet in April or in May and say, whoa, there's a bunch of bell schedules. What's going on? What's going on to do this?
What would be the start time between a middle school and a high school, the difference?
The high school times aren't gonna change.
I want to write down my idea. So middle school will start
7:20.
Drop off.
7:20. So miscellaneous to high schools, every high school now starts at 8. Other than the early college, which starts at 9. So middle school right now, everybody is 7:50 or 7:45, other than Uwharrie Ridge is 8 o'clock. So make it a little bit different. Would you say start time was planning is for middle school?
7:20.
7:20. It's going to be about a 30-minute and about a 40-minute gap.
What is the earliest you could be dropped off at a middle school or at an elementary school?
Based on our plan?
Yeah,
I can
a parent drop
Oh,
off.
I can't speak to that.
That's a school.
Yeah, that's a school.
They're gonna have to work out at school.
The buses were planning on being there at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Is the bus plan?
Yeah.
Would a bell schedule need to be realigned for high school? Well,
I'm just saying we're gonna have a big conflict between high school drivers dropping off middle school.
Because I wouldn't touch it. That's,
We were trying to leave high school alone because of early college.
yeah, we start messing with the high school, then you got the hub routes in the mix with the early college.
still take his,
Any more questions?
I can kind of tell you about the boards, on the 2 zones. Personally, I'm kind of like, do it all, but, Wendy never really still answered my question. She's smart enough not to answer, I guess, but anyway, but I'll go with whatever. If 2 is better than none, I do think we have to do something to improve our efficiency.
Is the board mostly in thinking 2 zones when we make the motion? I mean, is that what? Are you guys in mostly thinking 2?
I think so. I mean, for us to just feel comfortable when, instead of just throwing them all in there at one time.
But it's not, it's, wave a magic wand, things just go perfect and everything's great for
Right.
2. It's not like we're gonna start next semester.
No.
In January for the 4, it's gonna still be the 27th.
Yeah,
27, 28 school year before we can do anything.
yeah.
So we can, we'll be able to learn from it.
Yeah, okay. Better than nothing on that.
Well, board members, there's no question, we have to go here if we're, as I thought Wendy described the situation, is as clear as it could be from my end. Never heard her say it that way, but the state knows what it takes us to fund the state knows what it costs to fund our transportation system, and they're literally sitting on money in Raleigh. They're not gonna give us until we take this final step, because there's nothing else we can do, what we've been doing. We're as efficient, in my opinion, as we can be without starting on this road. What this also sets the school system up for is, so you've got 269,000 the estimate. Well, you know, there's another 269 out for another year that you can go to, or, you know, you can build towards that. That's, there's positive both ways. I understand the easing into it. Just, I think we're all gonna appreciate whatever you agree to, because we're just happy we're back here. I appreciate y'all for, that was on the list January 12th, because it was an item out there, and I appreciate your going to it as another way to, let's do this instead of going at people if we can. So we will appreciate whatever you approve.
When's the last time the state's transportation formula has been looked at?
Not my lifetime that I know of. Marty may know something, but it may have been looked at when I was a principal, but I didn't really get into that, honestly. We've asked, it's been brought up, but it's, I don't remember any attention.
This area has always been a funding problem, always.
This and EC are the last, Marty, EC and this, or which one's gonna close last? It's, so, you know, they're the two, tough areas.
I do think one thing, Dr. Gainey, that, I know you've already talked to them, but definitely gonna have to make sure that all the principals are on the same page. And they all understand that, you know, yes, the bus at the elementary school may drop off at 8 o'clock, but you're gonna have to work with your parents, the car ride line, and find a way to accommodate. I know Andrea, one time you worked at it, when you were principal at AT Middle, she switched some morning duties from evening duties and found a place to put some kids in the morning. And it worked out really well. You listening to me on, you remember that? She's not even listening to me. She's zoned out on me over there. I was bragging on you. You didn't even know.
I was bragging on you.
Yeah. Goodness. Lord have mercy.
You'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, she'll have to watch that. I was really praising you. You missed it.
2 hours and 48 minutes.
But anyway, I do think that's important that they realize that. All right, so any more questions, comments?
Let's do it.
All right, so we need a motion to adopt the tier bus plan for the Artsdale Trinity Randleman area for the Artsdale Trinity Wheatmore area for in the Randleman area for 26-27 school year starting.
The tier bus plan for.
Yeah, the tier bus is what's this on. All right, motion's made. I should have.
So
Did somebody
the
make the
rel-
motion?
It's
I
just
guess
for the
I just
ones
made the
that,
motion,
right,
didn't
so
I? I'm
moved.
all the way like an idiot. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, all right, motion carried. You say no? All right, we got 6-1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so.
I think that's it for us.
I move that the Randolph County Board of Education enter into a closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A, 1 and 3, to preserve the attorney-client privilege, to discuss confidential personnel matters protected by state law.
So moved.
We have a motion, then we'll say, have a second. You just said it.
I said, yeah, first.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? That's what happens when you eat all this, it makes you slip. We got it,
Do
baby.
what?
That's the most beer I've drunk in a long time before we came. All right, we need a motion to approve the certified personnel report.
Move.
Second.
We need,
Wait, you gotta vote.
okay, all those in favor say aye.
There's
Opposed?
one abstention on that, right?
Yeah, I'm not able to vote.
That's right.
6-0.
Need a motion to approve the classified personnel report.
So move.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Need a motion to close, to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.